Have you ever felt an obscure force within you, an impulsive, irrational side, perhaps even dangerous? Society teaches us to hide this. They say we need to be rational, controlled, always good and virtuous. But what if I told you that this dark side you try to suppress can be your greatest source of power? Nietzsche believed that within each of us there is latent chaos, a gross energy made of instincts, repressed desires, and primordial impulses. And he was a warning: if you don't learn to deal with this strength, it will control you. But if you dominate it, you can turn it to something grand. Today, let's explore how great philosophers like Nietzsche and Schopenhauer saw this dark side of existence and how you can use it to your advantage to become stronger, freer, and more powerful. The question is, are you ready to face your own darkness? If you feel that there is a dark side within you, know that the great philosophers had reflected on it for centuries. For Arthur Schopenhauer, our essence is moved by a primitive force that he has called will, a blind, irrational impulse that makes us want, fight, and survive. This force may be destructive if left loose, but it is also the gross energy that moves us forward. Nietzsche took this idea and took her even further. For him, Western culture has always tried to repress our natural instincts, teaching us that we should be obedient, submissive, and morally pure. The problem: when we try to deny our true nature, we become weak, frustrated, and resentful. Nietzsche believed that our dark side should not be denied, but transformed. Anger can be converted into determination. Fear can become courage. Internal chaos can be the basis for creativity and overcoming. The mistake is not in having a dark side. The mistake is in ignoring it. The question is, what happens when we try to repress this part of us? Does this make us better or weaker? From an early age, we are taught to suppress our most intense impulses. They say we should be kind, control anger, avoid confrontation, and hide any desire that can be considered wrong. But does this repression really make us better people? Nietzsche warned of a great danger. When we deny our own nature, we don't become more virtuous. We just become weaker and false. The repressed anger does not disappear. It accumulates. The ignored fear does not disappear. It grows in the shadows. The suppressed desire does not dissolve. It turns into frustration. The result? Resentful people, unable to express their true strength, living at the mercy of rules they didn't even choose for themselves. Nietzsche called this slave morality, a kind of submission that makes the individual passive and resentful against those who live more intensely. But there is another option: integrate your shadow. This means recognizing that dark impulses are part of you, understand and direct them to something constructive. Anger can be an engine for change. Fear can be a warning that strengthens your courage. Desire can be a creative impulse. Integrating the shadow does not mean surrendering to chaos, but transforming it into power. If inner chaos can be a source of destruction, it can also be the fuel for transformation. But for that, you need to learn to direct this energy. Nietzsche said that those who want to become strong need to go through a transmutation process. Instead of denying your intense emotions, you should refine them, channel them, and convert them to something grand. This requires effort. The easiest way is to be dominated by impulses and act destructively, but the true power is taking possession of this energy and shaping it to something greater. Nietzsche himself talked about the need to overcome himself constantly. For him, true strength does not come from repression or submission, but from the ability to transform pain, anger, and fear into wisdom, courage, and action. Schopenhauer also saw life as a constant confrontation with suffering. But instead of escaping it, he believed that greatness arose in those who accepted pain as an essential part of existence and used it to grow. When you start to see your dark side not like an enemy, but as a source of learning and impulse, something changes inside you. Anger becomes determination. Fear becomes alert and preparation. The pain becomes resistance. This is the path of the free spirit. someone who is not dominated by imposed rules, but does not become a slave to his own impulses. He finds a balance and makes himself his greatest strength. Nietzsche believed that few were willing to walk this path because he demands courage, but those who do so become truly free. For Nietzsche, most people spend their lives stuck in structures that limit their true power. They follow inherited patterns, obey rules that have never questioned, and try to fit into a predetermined model of right and wrong. But there are those who break with it, those who dare create their own values. The free spirit is one who does not fear his own chaos. He is not imprisoned for what others say it is morally acceptable, but neither is he surrendered to blind impulses. He shapes himself as a sculptor before a raw marble block. Nietzsche believed that the greatest transformation happens when we took what seemed a weakness and turned it into strength. The shadow is no longer a weight and becomes an engine for creation. This journey is not easy. It requires introspection, self-control, and, above all, courage to face one's darkness. But for those who accept this challenge, the result is a more intense, more true and freer existence. The big question is, are you willing to look inside and turn your own shadow into power? Nietzsche said that for something new to arise, it must first face the destruction of the old. This goes for the world, but especially for ourselves. To face your shadow is not to surrender to it, it is to master it, to shape it, and to use it as fuel for its own evolution. Most people will spend their lives running away from their own chaos, clinging to control and safety illusions. But those who have the courage to accept their true nature can transform their weaknesses into strength, their fears into courage, and their darkness into light. Now tell me, are you ready to walk this path, or will you keep running away from yourself? Leave your answer in the comments. I want to know how you deal with your own dark side. And if this video made sense to you, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe to the channel and enable notifications so as not to lose the next content. We see each other in the next video.